It's market day in the northern UK town where I live, and the weather's unusually good. The public are out in force. I've suggested in a previous video that the role of the public is crucial if we're going to steer a course towards a safer, healthier and sustainable future for people and planet. There's a term, civil society, which is important here. It kind of suggests a third force driven by the people to challenge industry and governments. But I think there's a huge challenge here, as we're faced with what I call uncivil society. It seems to me that the power of civil society has been neutralised through three major shifts in its nature. Firstly, civil society as a term is often used these days to refer to institutions, big aid agencies for example. These, as I argued in my previous book, Making Aid Agencies Work, have become big business, depending on big funding, much from governments, to do their work. Secondly, rather than these organisations working with one voice to call for better, safer, fairer ways of managing the world, they champion their own voices and agendas. In fact, they're often, rather than collaborating, in competition with one another. Thirdly, the public have been largely cast through the last 2 centuries of explosive growth as passive consumers rather than active citizens. That's why I use the term uncivil society. There is little evidence in general that the third force of civil society is united in countering the unmanaged growth and social and environmental damage resulting from it. In 2025 there's been a further dramatic shift. The incoming US government have taken a chainsaw to civil society organisations, shutting down US aid and slashing aid and development budgets. It's a deeply unwelcome disruption which is causing major suffering to the millions dependent in many ways on this aid. It leads me to ask how civil society could embrace its vital role. I suggest civil society needs to unite and speak out against the excesses of government and industry. So let's narrow the focus to this northern UK town. The weather's good, the streets are buzzing, yet just above the market stalls the high street is dotted with to let and for sale signs. The town centre is dying, and beyond the high street there are areas of deep poverty. Food banks are in full swing. There are problems with teeming traffic and poor public transport. One stall in this market represents a green coalition of many voluntary organisations in the town. Some are dedicated to environmental improvement, tree planting, creating green corridors. Others organise food banks, run a repair cafe, provide locally sourced food and cut out packaging. Though these organisations have their own individual missions, they're sharing a stand because, as a coalition, they're concerned to work together for a better, safer, healthier and sustainable town. And they're out in the marketplace connecting with the public and spreading this message. That, to me, is civil society in action. There's much more to do in this town and much more to do in towns and cities right across the globe. It's been done before. The anti-apartheid movement, the civil rights movement, Drop the Debt. These all mobilised coalitions of civil society organisations and active citizens. I think it's time to reawaken the sleeping force of civil society. If you found this video useful in understanding disasters, subscribe to this channel as we explore disaster makers and check out the Disaster Makers book.